Okay, so for Milestone 4 code review, um, I know there was a lot of stuff done regarding the design and the layouts, and I'll cover that briefly at the end. But I just want to dive into the code, and I don't want to make these as long as they were because I figured out that that's why I was having trouble uploading them. So, a few things I wanted to mention that I do not think were here before. First and foremost, I changed some stuff around. So when we were looking at the app, there was a. Let me see if I can pull up my navigation thing so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, right here. Okay, so we have map, home, and spots. The last milestone, all that was really going on was map and spots. Spots was a list view that I can just show you. Yeah, it was like a list view, and you'd click on it, and it would show these things. This would show up if there was no picture, and then it would fill out appropriately, everything. So, what I've added since then was a few things. I just changed the picture. Let me see where it's at on cancel decode map. No, it's not on view spot. Okay, so I've added a few things. I added a new class called Recycler View Adapter. It took me. I know it looks kind of short, but for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what this was used for and how, and I had to watch a lot of videos. It was nothing like my list view that already came with an adapter. You actually had to roll your own, which was, now that I've done it, it's pretty cool. So the way it works is you create a class and you extend an adapter for that class, which is this. And it goes inside of here, and this view holder is right here. Dot view holder on create view holder view group. What this does is it basically adapts a view that we create to bind to a list. So what we're doing is I have a list here. Let me show you layout. We have something that looks like this. This is a list item. Pull up my component tree so you can see. So recycler relative layout is what I called it. Realistically, it's just a relative layout. I did it just so I knew what I was talking about. And what it is it's a little layout, and the whole entire layout, as you can see, is right here. It's not the whole screen like everything else that I've been using, and that's what was throwing me off. I didn't know that we can do stuff like this. So you could actually make a view of custom dimensions. So I made a small little like card basically, and I put an image view in that card, a text view, and another text view. This is for my title. I'm sorry, we don't want Gradle. Attributes. There we go. Yeah, this is my title, and then these are my notes. So with this recycler relative layout is my ID, as you can see. So with this view, what this adapter class that I created does is it basically says, hey, give me a view, which is that thing that we just created, list item. So it takes in a view, and it does exactly what it sounds like, honestly. It adapts the view to a list. So here we have the holders, or these things right here are view holder stuff. Class view holder extends recycle view holder. So this is taking our list and setting, the things, the variables to one another. So we have a, where is it? Right here. We declared a text view, and image view. And you'll notice that these three variables are exactly what we have here, image and then two text views, right? So it basically takes what we have, it sets them, and then that's what these do. We have this in every single fragment. If I go to profile fragment, we do the same thing. See text equals find view by ID. So we point to where we need to point to, and then this basically takes our view that we created and it adapts it to our list. This right here is the exact same function that I have. Where would it be? View a spot, I believe. Yeah, it's this. It's just decoding a bitmap. That's all it is. So I didn't put it inside of a function because it was just, a couple lines of code. It was easier to just add it right here. And all of this does on bind view holder, it's basically like when we get information and we're trying to pass this information into the list. By the way, when I say information, I mean our view. Like our information is basically that view with all of our info inside of it, the image and the notes and the title. This actually sets everything. So mi.getID and stuff like that. The marker info is our dataset.getPosition. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. This populates, okay, I guess I didn't mention this. You need to create a list of custom data set objects. So this was also confusing. When we refer to online about Recycler View, Android Studio, you'll notice, so this is their adapter class. And they also have, oh no, that might have been their data class. Java Kotlin. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time trying to find it, but essentially they also, on the documentation, they wanted you to create a data set. And this was confusing me because I didn't understand, like, I created a data set like they said, and it was looking almost identical to this, and I found myself setting that to this, and it was getting messy. So what I opted on doing is just reusing the same data set that I've already created. This is marker info, and this is the class of information that gets pushed to our database. I need to open this to show you anyway. And you'll get a little sneak peek at our users now, which didn't used to be there. Okay, I'll close that for now. So this right here is our data set, and that's what this is: latitude, longitude, ID, notes, and image, and we have all of that right here. So I'm reusing this exact same class as our data set for the Recycler View adapter. I populate a list with marker info, so that's our data set, that's what we call it, and I'm filling each of those objects out with their appropriate information. And it's literally that easy. I was making it much harder than it needed to be. So with that being said, where's our profile fragment? So this is a new fragment that I've also created. Profile fragment has a few things. We don't need this anymore, I guess. Profile fragment has the recycle view adapter. So a recycler view is just a standard Android Studio variable, and it's for the let's show you this recycle view. So you'll notice if I go to spots, it says list view. This is the old way, and the new way is using recycle view, which is almost identical to card view, by the way. So delving into the profile fragment, you'll see that we also am creating an instance of our recycle view adapter. So this is our custom adapter class that I created and wrote my own, which adapts the list, the view that we wanted to our list. On create view, we do, this is very similar to everything that we always do. We point our variables at their their respective locations on our layout. This is right here. So we have another list of spots, and the spots that we're using, if I go back to my adapter, It's the same exact stuff. See, marker info. So the spots that we're using are being put into inside of this array list, and this all the stuff that you're looking at here is the new recycler view. This is all the list view. Now, this still works, but I'm not using this anymore. So I kept it here just in case I wanted to, alternate between a list view and a recycler view. But basically what you do is you set your adapter to an adapter, populating that adapter with this, the spots. If you go into here, say recycle view adapter, it needs to take in a data set, and that data set is going to be all the spots that we're pulling from the database. Set the adapter, and then I populate recycler from database. So all this is doing is just a whole bunch of initialization. Here is what I wanted you to see, and if you watched my showcase prior to this, you'll know what I'm talking about. So on our profile fragment, it says name. This name it says arpags02, and I wanted you to know that I didn't just hard code it. I have an instance of mauth, which is Firebase authentication, and I'm getting the current user who is signed in right now, and I get their email address, and that's what's setting this text view. So my email is getting pulled from here, arpags02@gmail.com, and then there's our unique user ID. And then on another Android phone that I have myself logged in under another email address that I have, and it has another unique user ID. And there's our user ID, and then these are the my spots that this person made, meaning me in this situation. But if it was multiple users on here, they would all have their own unique user IDs and their own unique spots. So when they go to my spots page and my profile fragment here, what it's doing is, and this is a log just to check, but I am now querying the database using the path users, where if I show you my spots fragment, I'm querying the database using child spots. So when I go through on the list fragment and it shows me all of the spots that I created, it'll loop through spots and create all of them. Now what's interesting is when a spot's created by a user, it's pushed to both. It's pushed to his personal spots and over here. Let me see if I could find an example. Boom, right here, laptop and laptop. So see how they have the same unique spot identification code? They're the same because they're the exact same entry. We do this, or I do this, because I want two entries of it. I want it to be global for everybody to see, and then unique for me because I'm the one who made it. So if I ever want to go back and do anything to the spot that I made, I can. Whereas I can't go into somebody else's spot and do stuff to it. Nor can I, view them as my spot because I didn't make it. So under profile fragment, I am pathing for users, and then I mauth.getCurrentUser.getUID, and then I query reference.child this ID right here, and I order it by key. What that means is when we go to Firebase, it's looking in users, and then what I just said, the second line of code right here, query reference.child ID order by key, it's going to look for these. So if there was like 4 or 5 or 6 under here with these big IDs, it would order all of them by their ID and go inside and then grab all of their unique spots. And this does exactly what it does in the list view and every other time I query my database, so I'm not going to go into it. It's the exact same stuff. Let's delete this for now. Okay, so mostly I believe, oh, here we have a login fragment. I completely forgot about showing you this. Okay, so initially when you click on home, if you were not signed in, this page pops up. And what it asks you to do is, like it says, it wants you to put in a username or an email and a password. And when you click login, it actually will register that to here. And you can see there's two, and they're both me. After this is done, and I'll show you. So login fragment. And just so you know, it's actually happening. Maybe I should show you this. Here we go. So when you click on home, it's not taking you to your profile, which is what happens on the code review. It takes us right to our profile. What it does is it takes you to the login fragment, which is this. And what the login fragment does, it's very simple. I create an instance of authentication, Firebase mauth. Obviously, we point our variables, like I always say. And okay, so over here I say if user is null. So basically, if this is your first time signing into the app and you've never used it and you never logged in, go into here and do stuff. I basically have an on-click listener on login, and when you click login, it will take whatever email address is in the edit text field, parse it to a string. Same with the password, and then this registered user it's a custom, I guess, method, but it really didn't have to be. All it does, it's a mauth, it's a Firebase method that create user with email and password, and then you pass in the email and password. So basically, under my login, it takes this and this, parses it to a string, and when you click login, it tries to create a user using the username and password that you created. And it has to be up to date to Google standards, so you can't type in ASDF 1234, it wouldn't work. It needs to have at least one capital, one uppercase, stuff like that, just like the regular standard password stuff. Moving on, if I already created an account and signed in, I obviously the user would not be null, and as you can see, I'm getting the current user here. So if it's not null, what we do is we use our little handy fragment transaction methods that I created in my main activity. So hey, if you're not null, switch it over to this user's profile, which is down here. And it's just like all the rest. It just basically makes a fragment transaction, and then it'll dump us into our profile. And we already covered what's going on here and what the profile looks like. This is populated as a recycler view once the actual app is turned on. Just for fun, I guess I can. Just so you can see a side-by-side comparison of why this is actually as confusing as it is. This is what it looks like, and you can't even click on these individual items. This is just there for you to see, like, hey, there's a list here. It's kind of confusing. Okay, cool. So because this is an emulator, it'll actually let us create another user. Cool. And next time we go here, there we go. dgkghost@aim.com. See, not hard coded. My spots is empty because there are no spots created. But if we go to all spots, we can see all of them. Click on them and view them just like we should. Map doesn't work in Fragment. I never fixed that. So yeah. So for milestone 4, we cleaned up the UI. We made things look a lot nicer. we added some stuff to our profile, we created some fragments, and we overall cleaned up the app and we made it look nicer and run smoother. And that is everything for Milestone 4 Code Review. Thanks for listening.